Yo, 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 what is up, Diamond family? It's your man BB, and welcome back to the BBS Academy. As you guys know, I'm here every week dropping off gems, teaching to record and mix your music better. So if that sounds good to you, stick around, man. Look, I got a really crazy video for you guys today, man. I'm showing you guys all the tricks, all the techniques to get you right where you want to be, sounding industry quality and professional right away. And look, I'm not even gonna over talk it. Look, if you're still struggling to get your vocals to sit inside the beat and balance themselves out perfectly every single time, you gotta check out my free course down below. It's gonna teach you my simple technique for balancing out your vocals and your beat flawlessly every single time. It takes about 15 minutes and it's completely free, so check it out down below. All right, let's dive into the track and we'll talk about how to mix these vocals. Let's get it.
Pacific codeine, I got lean all in my coat. Lean on me and help me focus. You ain't on me, that's what I know. You only stay around when you with me, at least you keep me focused. You laid around on me, that's bogus. You been around, that's what I noticed. Cause inside I'm cold.
All right, cool. So as you can hear, the song already sounds done, right? It's got the effects going crazy. The vocal is sitting right there in the middle. It's present. It's right in your face like you want it to be. Let's talk about how we got here, man, because we had to do a lot. I'm going to show you guys right now. So let's bypass everything that we have here. These are just our effect sends. So that's for our delay. This is for our vocal effects, and this is for our vocal reverb. I'm going to leave this one engaged. This is just the parallel compressor. It just helps us to keep our vocal really on top of the beat and present and like right in your face. So not really on top of the beat, but at the forefront of the track is where it keeps our vocals. So we want to make sure that we do that. But everything else we're going to mute out. We're also going to mute out all of these ad libs and backgrounds in the back that are, kind of going off right now. So let's get these out of the way as well, and let's see what we got.
Pacific codeine, I got lean all in my coat. Lean on me and help me focus. You ain't on me, that's what I know. You only stay around when you with me, at least you keep me focused. You laid around on me, that's bogus. You been around, that's what I noticed.
And so a couple of things that you'll notice about this vocal is even though he punched in like every bar, it sounds like one consistent take. And a lot of that is because of how we apply these effects. So let's go ahead and apply the effects. I'm also going to come down here and bypass our effects bus. So this effects bus is really just for our reverbs and our delays and our vocal effects, that kind of thing. But I'm talking about actually the way that we control and mix the vocal. So I'm going to show you guys exactly these 6 plugins and how I use them to achieve this vocal. The first thing I did was, before any of this actually, was record the vocal really cleanly. So I'm going to bypass everything and let you hear the vocal dry without any effects besides the auto tune. We'll keep the tune up there. You can do this with one click if you hold control and click, but unfortunately I'm using one hand, so I got to do it the old-fashioned way, the slow way. So let's listen to this vocal. It's just going to have tune on it and whatever mix bus effects we have, which are down here, but there's nothing directly on the vocal. Let's hear it.
Pacific codeine, I got lean all in my coat. Lean on me and help me focus. You ain't on me, that's what I know. You only stay around when you with me, at least you keep me focused. You laid around on me, that's bogus. You been around, that's what I noticed.
And cool, so the vocal pretty much sounds the same. It just sounds darker, it sounds more dull, less exciting. And so when I hear a vocal like this, I instantly start picking up the problems. It's too dark, it's too muddy, there's too much low end, it's not exciting, it doesn't really grab me and make me want to listen to what's being said. So when I noticed that things were super dark, the first thing I grabbed was this Fresh Air plugin, which is actually free from Slate Digital. So if you don't have this one, go pick it up, man. And it's very easy to overdo it with this plugin. So you can see I'm only adding 7% of the mid air and 8% of the high air, and I'm also trimming back or taking away 1 dB of volume. And so let's hear how this sounds.
Pacific codeine, I got lean all in my coat. Lean on me and help me focus. You ain't on me, that's what I know.
Right, now let's bypass it again.
Pacific codeine, I got lean all in my coat. Lean on me and help me focus. You ain't on me.
So this really didn't do a whole lot to cut the low end, but it did add a little bit more clarity and high end presence. So I'm gonna back and forth them one more time. Let's go without it.
Pacific codeine, I got lean all in my coat. Lean on me and help me focus. You ain't on me, that's what I know.
Cool, so we got a little bit more presence, a little bit more high-end clarity. From there, I loaded up the virtual mix rack. Now, for recording, I'll take a quick step back. For recording, we actually recorded using the Slate ML1 mic, and we're using the Sony C800 emulation. So it's making this vocal sound like we recorded it through the $10,000 Sony mic, which is the vibe we were going for. We want that super clear, super commercial industry sound, and this mic really helped us get there. And then, like I said, follow that up, we went with the VMR. So the first thing we have here is just a channel strip emulation, and all that's doing is making the entire mix. I have this on every channel of the mix. It's making the entire mix sound like it's running through this Brit 4K or this SSL board. You don't have to use use this. You can use the Waves NLS. You can actually use Plugin Alliance to do some channel emulation. I just like to get the analog emulation out of the way and get the song sounding a little bit more vibey, a little bit more analog. And so I think this really helps us do that. From there, we jump to compression. So let's go ahead and see how much compression or gain reduction we're getting on this vocal.
I been sipping codeine, I got lean all in my coda. Lean on me and help me focus. You leaned on me, that's what I know. You only stay around when you with me, at least you keep me focused. You laid around on me, that's bogus. You been around, that's what I noticed.
Cool, so what we realize now is the low end issue is still there, but the vocal is much more consistent, right? It's not going up and down as much in volume. Let's bypass the compression, you'll see what I'm talking about.
I been sipping codeine, I got lean all in my coda. Lean on me and help me focus. You leaned on me, that's what I noticed. I been sipping codeine, I got lean all in my coda. Lean on me and help me focus. You leaned on me, that's what I noticed.
So by compressing this vocal, it's like we added some high end, which we didn't do. The difference is pretty night and day, honestly. If we hear without it, it's more dull, it's more dark. But when we add the compression, it brings more of the high end of the vocal out, which is what we wanted it to do. So it's controlled the vocal and it's added a little bit more high end saturation, a little bit more high end frequency to our ears at least, to help the vocal to stand out more. So now it's time to really try to tackle that low end frequency. I use the FGA, which is just an API style compressor. There's a few from Waves you can use that do the same thing. Plugin Alliance, FabFilter, whatever you want to use. The goal is to get those frequencies dug out. And so we're doing a 6 dB cut at 200 and we're doing a 4 dB cut at 600. And let's listen to what that sounds like when we engage it.
I been sipping codeine, I got lean all in my coda. Lean on me and help me focus. You leaned on me, that's what I noticed.
And immediately, that just changed the game. Let's go without it.
I been sipping codeine, I got lean all in my coda. Lean on me and help me focus. You leaned on me, that's what I noticed. You only stay around when you...
Yeah, there's like an annoying kind of wom sound from the, which is the only way I can say it, but there's like this annoying kind of frequency that's like in the background of the vocal, and it's his voice, but there's too much of it. And once we did this EQ cut, it really dug that out and cleaned up the vocal tremendously. Let's listen to it again.
I been sipping codeine, I got lean all in my coda. Lean on me and help me focus. You leaned on me, that's what I noticed. You only stay around when you with me, at least you keep me focused. You laid around on me, that's bogus. You been around, that's what I noticed.
And you'll notice as soon as I engaged that LA2A, the vocal just got tighter and more present and more in your face and more there. And that's what we wanted from the vocal. And we're really achieving it with two compressors, right? So far we've got a saturation plugin with fresh air. We've used a channel strip emulation. We're using a compressor, an EQ, following it up with another compressor. So from there I went with a dynamic EQ because there's still some of that low end frequency that's present in the vocal that I don't want to be there. So I'm going to let that get controlled or use this dynamic EQ to control that. So I found the frequency at 175. Let's hear how it sounds controlled.
I been sipping codeine, I got lean all in my coda. Lean on me and help me focus. You leaned on me, that's what I noticed.
And really, that just sent the clarity through the roof. Like now it sounded like a finished vocal, honestly. We don't have to do much more to it. Let's bypass.
I been sipping codeine, I got lean all in my coda. Lean on me and help me focus. You leaned on me, that's what I noticed. I been sipping codeine, I got lean all in my coda. Lean on me and help me focus. You leaned on me, that's what I noticed.
And really, you'll notice a lot that when you're mixing songs, you're trying to remove things that distract your ear from the main point, right? So that extra frequency, although it wasn't a huge deal, especially before we added this compressor, like everything we did up to this point was definitely necessary. But at this point, you kind of say, man, I could take it or leave it. But that little bit of extra frequency in the back of your mind that's messing with your ears is going to distract you from the main point of the song. You don't want to give your listener any reason to change the song. You want to do anything that's going to distract them from listening to the song. So that's what we're doing. We're cutting out all those distracting frequencies that are taken away from the clarity and from the actual message of the song, what we actually want you to hear and focus on. We're trying to minimize the things that we don't really want you to focus on. So we added some we added some dynamic EQ, then we just added a regular EQ with the infinity EQ, and here we're still attacking those same frequencies, man. Right here is at 179, so basically that same frequency, but also up a little bit higher, 373, which is more of that muddy range that we're trying to attack. So let's hear it once we engage these two.
I been sipping codeine, I got lean all in my coda. Lean on me and help me focus. You leaned on me, that's what I noticed. You only stay around when you with me, at least you keep me focused. You laid around on me, that's bogus. You been around, that's what I noticed.
Cool. So what we did here is we cut these frequencies so that we could boost everything else. So we cut this one back what is this? 4 dB. I'm sorry, almost 5 dB. And this one I think is right around 5 as well. 6.5 dB. And so we boosted 3 dB on the way out. Now we did that because we wanted to bring up some of the other frequencies, but it made the vocal seem a little bit too loud. And we grabbed the RVox here. The RVox is going to add some saturation, some color to the vocal, but it's also going to control it in the way that we need it controlled. Oftentimes if my vocal isn't loud enough, I'll add more gain on the RVox versus where I pull the comp down to. But if I think the vocal's a little too loud, I kind of keep them even, or maybe I'll drag this gain down a little bit lower. So it's just a little RVox tip for you. And we're only getting, you see, almost 4 dB of gain reduction. Nothing crazy here. But let's hear what this adds to the vocal.
Pacific codeine, I got lean all in my coda. Lean on me and help me focus. You leaned on me, that's what I noticed. You only stay around when you in need, at least you keep me focused. You laid around on me, that's bogus. You been around, that's what I noticed.
And the last effect that we're using, of course, is a de-esser, man. We got to control these S's. And his S's aren't terribly crazy. They're not, super harsh or anything, so it's not a big deal here, but we still need to control some of them. So this isn't going to make a huge change, but let's hear it.
Pacific codeine, I got lean all in my coda. Lean on me and help me focus. You leaned on me, that's what I noticed. You only stay around when you in need, at least you keep me focused. You laid around on me, that's bogus. You been around, that's what I noticed.
Cool. So I like the way that sounds, but I think the vocals are a little bit too loud. And that's because we bypassed our effects. Remember, we turned all the effects off. So when we bring these effects back, the vocal effects and the reverbs and the echoes and those kinds of things are actually going to push the vocal back in the mix a little bit and help it to sit pretty much right where we want it to sit. So we might need to tweak. We'll see. Let's hear it.
Pacific codeine, I got lean all in my coda. Lean on me and help me focus. You leaned on me, that's what I noticed. You only stay around when you in need, at least you keep me focused. You laid around on me, that's bogus. You been around, that's what I noticed. Pass inside, I'm calling shotgun with a shotgun in the Hemi.
Oh yeah. Now it's starting to sound like something here. Let's try to bring these ad-libs and such back. So I haven't really touched these in terms of effects or anything. They're just in here, but I think they add so much to the vocal, so much to the verse. So let's hear it.
Pacific codeine, I got lean all in my coda. Lean on me and help me focus. You leaned on me, that's what I noticed. You only stay around when you in need, at least you keep me focused. You laid around on me, that's bogus. You been around, that's what I noticed. Pass inside, I'm calling shotgun with a shotgun in the Hemi. Say you really cop hard, I do not fraud. I be round with a hand on, really smart card. I got smart card, making one.
All right, bet, man. So you can hear it, right? That's that vibe that we've been looking for. That's that industry quality sound that you need every single time. Look, man, these are the tips that I'm giving you guys week in and week out. And if you need a little bit more help, drop me a line down below. My name is VV, and I'm here for you. Remember to stay humble and make diamonds only. Peace.
Pacific codeine, I got lean all in my coda. Lean on me and help me focus. You leaned on me, that's what I noticed. You only stay around when you in need, at least you keep me focused. You laid around on me, that's bogus. You been around, that's what I noticed. Pass inside, I'm calling shotgun with a shotgun in the Hemi. Say you really cop hard, I do not fraud. I be round with a hand on, really smart card. I got smart card, making one call, I can give it a call. I'm coming and flipping and spinning. Ain't one like me, don't see no contenders. You blew it, she chewing it.